And what did they say?
They're all very supportive, so I've been lucky in that regard. But it was funny for like maybe, I don't know, 2 years after I quit. Mum and dad a couple of times were like, so like, when are you going back to work? I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, I'm not going back. I was like, if I go back, something's gone drastically wrong. Yeah, so they couldn't quite wrap their head around, because I was so deep in that like matrix.
Yeah.
They were a bit surprised, and also I think for that generation, it's different. Like it's, I show them what I'm doing now.
Sit back and relax and get ready for another exclusive episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast with Lopez.
This episode is brought to you by the best AI software online called Goody. That's Goody. Goody will help you create all content for your blogs, websites, newsletters, articles, ads, and even pictures, LinkedIn posts, Twitter, you name it. All you got to do is go to lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. And the best part about Goody is absolutely free. That's right. It's free for the first 7 days. You can cancel at any time. Goody will help you create all your contents for your blogs and websites online. And it's 100% absolutely free, full access for the first 7 days. All you got to do is go to my website. That's lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. Or just click the link in the show notes and get started today. To another episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. So today I have another special guest. However, before I get into that, I would appreciate it if you would leave me a 5-star review in iTunes. Love it or hate it, I want to hear what you think. I want to hear maybe some show ideas, maybe some people you would like to bring on. So wherever you listen to me on iTunes, Amazon, Google, leave me a review. I want to hear your feedback. Love it or hate it, I want to hear it. I appreciate you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. So with that being said, I have a special guest today that has made millions of dollars online. So if you ever wanted to get started online selling other people's products, my guest today has done exactly that. And he's done it on the next level, I would say. And he created a personal brand in 2018. He quit his finance job that he had, came online, made millions of dollars as an affiliate selling other people's products and services. And now he advises other people to start their online business as an entrepreneur, creating strategies and tactics that they can model and do the same as he's done as well. So with all that being said, my special guest is Jacob Caress. Welcome to the show. So where are you from?
I am born and raised in Australia. I live on the Gold Coast now, but I grew up about an hour from here, a little bit further north near Brisbane, which is the capital city, and lived here most of my life, aside from a couple of years in the States. I lived in New York for a couple of years doing the investment banking corporate type jam. And that's really what ultimately led me here, because I realized I didn't want to work 100 hours a week for the rest of my life.
Nice, man. I hear you, man. So, what made you come online?
So I originally dabbled online in 2011, like pretty early in my like I'd just gone from university into corporate, and pretty quickly I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do with my life. And so I started digging around, and I bought a website off Flipper.com. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Yeah, it's just a website marketplace, right? Yep. And that was just selling like social signals back then. Like I didn't really know what I was doing. So, like people sell like YouTube views and Instagram followers, and like it was just doing that. And then I was just outsourcing the delivery. And I made like 10, 15, maybe even 20 grand, like pretty quickly. But then that market got kind of flooded, and my job took off. It got real busy, and so it kind of died. I always kept a pulse on kind of what was going on in the online marketing space, because I found it fascinating. But didn't really do anything until 2017. This is when I was living in the States, and I had a 2-year contract there. And so I was going to come back to Australia, and I was in that phase of life, like late 20s, where, didn't have kids, didn't have a mortgage. Life doesn't get, more simple, it gets more complicated. So I was like, if I'm going to make a change, I gotta do it now. And bought a Tony Robbins book, and bought Jeff Walker's Launch book, and read them. I flew to St. Louis for a bankruptcy hearing for a company that we're working with, and read those books. And then as it goes, once you start buying that kind of stuff, the ads start appearing, right? Like Facebook, YouTube, Google ads, like, oh my God, they're everywhere. And I got hit with an ad from Russell Brunson over at ClickFunnels, which, everybody knows Russell, about their affiliate bootcamp at the time, becoming a ClickFunnels affiliate. And as we were just talking about kind of off air, it just made sense to me. It was like, look, I don't have the capacity to go and create all my own stuff right now. So I can just get a link, and if I can get people to click on the link, he's going to do the rest of the work for me. And that just made sense to me in that moment in time. And so I kind of went deep down the affiliate marketing rabbit hole, initially with like SEO and blogging was kind of my gateway drug. And then, it took off from there, and went full time in September 2018, and been doing it ever since.
Nice. Yeah. So how did you know that you could do it? Because, and the reason why I asked that, because a lot of people, they say they try, but they say, man, don't work, I quit. So
everything works. Everything works. It's just people don't try for long enough, right? Like, so my first year, I was working, as I said, I was in New York. I was working 80, 100 hours a week. But I needed to figure it out, because I didn't want to go back and do the same stuff in Australia. And so I started this blog. I couldn't be on social media because the companies we worked with were really like quite high profile, like multi-billion-dollar publicly listed companies. And so I couldn't be seen to be, promoting stuff and have other business interests. I was, I did what I did, right? And I couldn't do anything else. And so I had to find a way to do it behind the scenes. And so that's why I chose blogging, because I could kind of do it somewhat, anonymously. And I wrote articles on planes, on trains, on subways, in Ubers, on my phone, and just like literally the definition of bootstrapped it together that year. And that managed to do about 15 to 20K, and it's in the whole year as well. So I think that's the other thing, people set these like unrealistic expectations. But yeah, that did about 20K the first year. And then I got back to Australia the year after that, and it was exactly what you've just asked. Like I didn't know, I had that like proof of concept, but I didn't know how far it could go. And so I took 6 months off work when I got back, unpaid 6 months. And I was like, this is it, make or break, give it a go, and I just threw everything at it, tried every strategy, from ads to organic to everything in between, to make it work, and thankfully it stuck. But it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of late nights. There was a lot of frustration, but managed to kind of sticky tape it all together, and we got there.
Yeah, man. Your story is similar to a lot of people's story. Once you find what works for you, you could never fully go back to the 9 to 5. Now you might work the 9 to 5 job, but your mind, your spirit, you're like, yo, I really ain't feeling the job like that.
Yeah.
Because
what happened was I took the 6 months off, and I got the business to the point it was doing like maybe like $8-9 grand a month, and so I still had the job sitting there, and I was really good at what I did, and I had a big kind of career ahead of me in that direction. And it's really hard to let go of that too when you've invested. You've invested 7 years, a lot. Like I invested most of my 20s working. Like I didn't do the whole do nothing for your 20s and figure it out in your 30s type thing. I went straight from high school to university into a job. I did post-grad study for the industry I was in. And so it was just been bang, 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 bang. And so I'd invested so much. It was really hard for me to let go of it. So even though I got it to the point it was doing, 6 figures, I went back to work for 3 months because I couldn't let go of it. That was both a good and bad decision. It was good in that it confirmed to me that I just couldn't do that anymore. But it was bad in that I literally ran myself into the ground because I was working those huge hours again, but doing way more. And so I was sleeping like 3-4 hours a night for months on end and just completely cooked myself out. And I think I lasted about 3 or 4 months. And then the doctors basically said, I came home one night and my blood pressure was like through the roof. It was like 180 on 120 or something. And they're like, dude, you got to stop. Like pick one. So I quit the next day.
Yeah. I ended up in the emergency room too. I was burned out. And the doctor was like, hey, what's your daily routine like? And I was telling him, hey, I get up in the morning, I go to class, and then when I get out of class, I go to work, and then when I get off at 11 o'clock, I do some stuff online, and then I go to bed at 3:30. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
He said, how long you been doing this? I said, man, probably like about 2 years now. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting enough sleep.
You burn out, man.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's what I learned. In the beginning, I thought I could do everything, but no, that's when you learn that, at least back in the day, I didn't understand the concept of getting help. I didn't understand that.
Try to do it all yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. So what did your family say when you quit your job, man? What did they say?
They're all very supportive, so I've been lucky in that regard. But it was funny for like maybe 2 years after I quit. Mum and dad a couple of times were like, so like, when are you going back to work? I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, I'm not going back. I was like, if I go back, something's gone drastically wrong. So they couldn't quite wrap their head around because I was so deep in that like matrix.
Yeah.
They were a bit surprised, and also I think for that generation, it's different. Like I show them what I'm doing now. Like I did this launch in 2019 with Russell and Tony Robbins. They did this big promotion of a new offer. Dean Graziosi was in it as well, and I made like 120 grand in a day. And I was sitting with my mum in my apartment, and I was like, watch this. The sales started popping in when they opened the cart.
Yeah.
And it was just like ding, 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 ding. And Mum's like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what is happening? Because it's like, it doesn't feel real, right? I had the laptop like up on the screen, and it's just like $1,500, $1,500, $1,500. Just it's like when you go to Vegas and you play the slots, and it was like that. It was out of control. So I think it's a bit challenging for them to conceptualize as well, because it's pretty crazy what we do. But they were all really supportive. They just wanted me to be happier. So just like, so like, when are you gonna go back to work? No more work.
Yeah, it's saying here. My family, they see me online. or they'll see a book I wrote or something I wrote. They think, oh, okay, that's nice. They don't know what I'm doing though. They can't explain it. They say, I don't know how he's doing it, but it works somehow.
Yeah, it makes money.
Yeah. So my parents are kind of like, they couldn't really see anything negative.
Yep.
Because they didn't really understand what I was doing anyway.
That's good.
Yeah. You know. So what gave you the confidence to help other people do the same thing?
Yeah, so that didn't come until quite a bit later. So like I did the affiliate marketing thing without like coaching or making courses and stuff. I think people jump into that entirely too fast. I did that for like 3 years exclusively, and I'd made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd won awards with 3 different companies for being a top affiliate. I'd tried like every strategy, and it was at the point where I was like, if I went into something, I could make money with it. And when I had that ability to see how the game was played and I could do it consistently, at that point I was like, look, there's plenty of people because what I was doing, I started a Facebook group in March 2018. I didn't sell a lot into it though. I just kind of shared what I was up to. And so 18 months of people seeing me get results without pitching them anything, the demand was becoming like out of control. Like people were messaging me every day going, you know, help me, right? And so then when I launched SAA, it was called, we put 40 people into it at $1,000 a head in like 2 weeks. There was nothing. It was just a checkout page. I just sent the checkout page to people. I was like, "Here, if you want to help, let's do it." But it wasn't until I'd done the thing over and over, and at this point, I'd traveled around. I'd spoken on stages about affiliate marketing. Like I'd really embedded that skill set, and won a ton of awards. And at that point, I felt comfortable teaching it. Now, that's not to say you have to get to that point in order to. I don't necessarily believe that either. But for me, I wanted to have a incredibly strong foundation that would mean I'd be, immune to criticism, so to speak.
Gotcha. So being that you live in Australia, do people utilize the internet like they do in North America? Because there's certain countries where they don't necessarily really utilize the internet like that. I give you an example, like Japan, for example. I lived in Japan for 3 years.
Yeah,
they don't really utilize the internet like that. Not in the way we do.
Yeah, Australia does.
Okay.
Selling to Australians is different to selling to Americans. Selling to Australians is more similar to selling to people from the UK. They look at things differently. I found Aussies and Brits not much of a fan of like the real hypey stuff. They're a bit more like, what are you trying to screw me over? They're more skeptical. It's just the way that we are. Okay. And so yeah, Australia's kind of like, Canada, it's hard to say. It's probably a bit of a mixed bag. But yeah, no, they definitely do. The market's probably not as far along as America in an absolute sense, but yeah, it's pretty kind of in parallel. It's just you've got to treat the sales process slightly differently.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, being that I think when you came online, things were different, versus today. So, do you think today it's easier to get started versus when you came online?
This is a really interesting question because I think every person who tries to start and struggles likes to think that, if I'd done this 4 years ago, it would have been easier. And you can probably trace that all the way back to, the year 2000 when like Frank Kern started.
Yeah.
I think it's probably easier in some ways, but I also think it's harder in some ways. It's a bigger market, which means that there's more opportunity, but a bigger market can also mean more competition. With that said, I think I hosted an event on the Gold Coast a couple of years ago, and a guy that I learned a lot of came and spoke, and he spoke about this concept of competition. And people think that, there's all these people out there that they're competing with. So let's take an affiliate program, for example. Let's say there's, like ClickFunnels, right? Let's say there's 20,000 affiliates in a Facebook group. We see that and we're like, oh, we're competing against 20,000 people. Okay, that's what we know on the surface, but that's not reality. The first point of dilution is, well, okay, of those 20,000, how many people are still doing anything? We're down to like 2,000, right?
Yep.
Then of those 2,000, how many people are doing what is required? As in, they're being somewhat consistent. You can probably 80-20 it again, 90-10 it again. So you're down to like a couple of hundred, right?
Yep.
Then we're down to, so let's say we're down to max like 400 people, right? And I think that's being generous.
Yeah.
Then you go, well, who's actually doing, they might be doing it consistently, but are they doing it consistently well? Are they skilled? Are they improving? Are they asking the right questions, posting the right content, deploying the right strategies, making the right offers? All these variables, right? You can probably 80-20 it again.
So that's less than 100.
Right? Now you're under 100, right? And how you can take this one step even further is when you do things via a personal brand, you can operate in a market of one. Because if you do things well, you do things consistently, and you do it as like through the power of just being you, now you're in a market of one. And so I think if folks take that approach and that view of the world, they realize that there's a hell of a lot less competition than they realize. Like when I won this ClickFunnels thing, it was a couple of years old, but I was like number 51 in the world. And at that point, there was 30, 40,000 affiliates in the group. So the numbers stack up, right? So I think there's tons of opportunity. I had a friend who I talk to periodically, and I showed him like one Google Ads strategy, and then I didn't talk to him for like 9 months. And I knew this guy would do well because he's the type that just when he hears something, he just goes and does it, and he doesn't quit. He's like a dog after a bone. Like he just does not quit until he gets it. And he came over and he's like, yeah, dude, made like $500,000. I was like, holy crap. But he just didn't relent because he knew the approach worked, and he just did not relent until it clicked. So I think a lot of it's about what's going on between the ears. But yeah, the competition isn't nearly as much as people think. If you actually deploy the right approach and you're genuinely consistent with it, and you add your own little flair and style and personality.
Yeah, especially if you're a well-known person, in today's time, because I remember when I first came online, this is like 15 years ago, nobody had to know, you could be faceless. No one had to ever see your face. You could just have a website and you could send people your splash page with an opt-in,
splash page,
emails and whatever. That's how long I've been online. And you would collect email addresses and send them to whatever you have to offer, and people would buy. Boom. It could be trash, whatever you had. And people would be upset, of course. People would complain, and some people would get shut down. But that's starting not to work so well now. So some people would say, well, you know what? I like because today people actually want to see what people look like. They want to see who's behind the website today.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's, as long as you're a good operator,
yeah,
I think that should be viewed as a positive, because if you sell good stuff and you care about your customers, I think there's more of an opportunity because you stand out.
Yeah, So I know you get asked, this probably a lot. It might be a brand new person, somebody that just coming online, no experience, don't know anything about the internet, and they would say, hey, I got this product, this service. Maybe I'm a realtor or I'm in the fitness, they'll say, "Hey, how do I get started?" What would you tell them?
Build a personal brand. Build a personal brand, without a doubt. Start creating content. Just start creating. Pick the platform that you like the most, right? Pick the format that leans into your strengths. If you're great on video, do YouTube. Layer in Facebook and Instagram because they're different. If you don't want to do video, you just want to do audio, do a podcast. If you don't want to do either of those, just do Facebook. Pick the platform that you like the most and just start creating. Put the link to whatever you want to do in your bio and just start having fun with the algorithms until people start clicking on it. That's the game in a nutshell. You can make it as complicated or as fancy as you want, but you just got to start posting, start talking to people, start responding to people in the comments, start testing different styles of short form video, long form video, just become a mad scientist about it, but focus on, this game's really simple. Once you've got something to sell, your whole job from that moment onwards is to build your reputation, right? And we can break down what the word reputation means, more followers, depth of relationship with your followers. But in a nutshell, it's to build a reputation, because the reputation is what will drive the clicks. And assuming the thing is set up correctly, that's what will get the conversion. So that's all people have to do is, if they've got something they want to sell, just go out and build a reputation. Do podcasts, do interviews, create your own stuff, build this your own world. This is how I think about it anyway. I've got this like Jacob Karras world, this ecosystem, and all I'm trying to do each day is get people to consume. I'm trying to get new people into it, and then the people that join and the people that are already there, I'm trying to get them to consume. Because the more time they spend consuming is the more time that we've spent together. And that's what makes sales really easy, is when they've spent 5, 10, 15, 20 hours listening to a podcast, watching YouTube videos, reading my posts, seeing my stories, reading my emails. Eventually a day is going to come, it's going to click, and they're going to go, I got to pay Jacob some money. And that's the game. You just build that world every day, chip away at it, chip away at it, chip away. It's not sexy, but it's what works.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And what you just described, I've done 5 different times in 5 different niches.
There you go.
It works.
It definitely works. 100% it works.
Yeah. So if people wanted to follow you and work with you, where would they go to?
JacobKarras.com. That's the best place to go. And everything kind of links off that. I've got YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. That's the best place. That's kind of the hub. There's a video on there that explains, kind of similar to what I just described, how we build these kind of social ecosystems and sell off the back of that. But yeah, that's the best place to go.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we're out. Peace.